This video is only being used for educational purposes solely. What's up, GATV family? It's your boy Gravitating Away, back at it again. Now this one is a good one. It's Dr. Umar Johnson, who educates an FBA woman, so-called FBA woman, who stands on the ground in the notion that she is not African. She's everything else: plebiscite, Indian, Blackfoot, Seminole, but she gets triggered when being called an African. And this is what pseudo history do. And the reason why I'm playing different audio clips is to give you guys an insight, a better understanding into what we're dealing with, and comprehending why there are several of us, if not many, who are out there in YouTube, these YouTube streets, trying to combat this any way we can, because I'm telling y'all, it's going to lead to division, but more accurately, confusion for our younger folks. I mean, this pseudo history nonsense basically teaches you that you don't have to really learn anything. You can just get on YouTube and don't do the research. That's why I always preach, you don't got to take my word for it. Go ahead and do the studying. And not only am I telling you not to take my word for it, I'm bringing you the evidence of what I'm speaking on, so you won't think, quote unquote, I'm a hater. When you hear this woman talk, and I dare you, for anyone that don't even like Dr. Umar, I'm not even the biggest fan of this guy, but even if you're not a fan of Dr. Umar Johnson, you will leave this video listening to this woman and understanding the sickness of groups like FBA. You will understand why pseudo history cannot be something that we're gonna champion. Hell no. Nah. So without a further ado, I'm about to drop the clip now, y'all.
Give me a specific project that your organization is working on that doesn't require us to beg from white folks. Give me one.
So how about this? You come and meet us and work with us instead.
No, Ern.
Because you a big talker.
Cut it out, Ern. I love you, bro. I want to point out my central contradiction with the African-American tribal groups. And that's the Freedmen, the Pretendians, the ADOS, the phony Black Americans, all of that. I don't see nothing being done for our people that doesn't involve begging white folks. Message. I just asked Brother Erm to give me one thing he doing that does not involve white people. He gave me no answer. So I got to ask you the same question, my love. What are y'all doing that don't involve waiting for white folks, working with white folks, or begging from white folks to make things better for black folks in this country? Is this truth now?
The truth is, like your grandmama told you when you asked her where y'all was from, she didn't say Africa. She said she was from right here. Like your great-great-grandmama told you, you guys are from right here. Because I'm gonna tell you something. That's
why don't we just do? Wait. We ain't gotta argue that. Why don't you just do a DNA test and see if New Jersey come up in your blood sample?
Okay, let me tell you something. What's going to happen? I'm going to tell you something, Dr. Umar Johnson. What's going to happen is,
here's the difference.
When you do that DNA test.
So let me ask you a question. Again.
When you do that fake DNA test, hold on, wait a minute. Let me answer your question.
Go ahead.
That fake DNA test, what's going to come up is a country that just got named in 1960. They're going to say Nigeria and Ghana and West Africa, and these places were just called these in the 60s. Before that,
okay, but what about the kingdoms that existed where those countries are? What about the kingdoms that existed?
What was those kingdoms? They're not putting those kingdoms on their DNA test. They're putting that country's name, and that country wasn't named.
But the samples of the people in those areas, listen, they carved up Africa. They did not mix up Africa. So the people who existed in that area of land that is now called Nigeria, all of those kingdoms are still there. They're still there.
But those people immigrated from there. Let me tell you something. Colonization.
They're still there. So if they tell you you're Igbo, the Igbo kingdom is still there. Yes, it's a part of Nigeria, but it is still geopolitically where it was before the white man showed up in Africa. So that does not dismiss the authentic. No, but wait. So let me ask you this. Stay with me.
Okay.
You have 256 7 times great grandparents. Mm-hmm. Every human being on the planet Earth has 256 great grandparents. Mm-hmm. How many of those 256 for you are Native Americans?
All of them.
And you know this how?
Because can't nobody prove that we can't.
No. Don't tell me what nobody can prove. No.
My grandmother told me.
How does Nakia? So do you have the name?
I came from a country. I know
the name Nakia is pretty African.
So basically, you're Native American because nobody can prove you're not.
I'm indigenous to this land. This is my
story. But the only way you can prove you're indigenous to this land is to give me the names of your 256 7 times great grandparents, but you don't know a single name. Nakia, you don't know a single name. Do you see how ignorant that is?
No. But prove to me they African though. Okay, so prove to me my 256 is African then. So you prove it that
Okay. I'm gonna prove this. Is what I want you to do for me. Just do this one thing for me. Mm-hmm. Get me the 16 names of your great grandparents, and I'll prove you African.
Okay, all right. I will give you that, and I'll get that.
Give me that. I will prove to you. Because the point that you indigenous Negroes keep missing is even the Native Americans are a mixed race African people.
Oh my
That's the point that y'all missing. The first people in this country were African people. Okay, the people that you call native came over here later and mixed with the original Africans who came here.
Okay,
so when you say you are indigenous, you know what you're saying? All you're admitting is that you are an African from an earlier group of immigrants from the mother continent. That's all you're saying. When you say you
African, you're saying you're an immigrant. When you say you African, that means that I am not from this land. When you say you are an African American, you're calling yourself an immigrant, which says that you have no
you're missing the whole point. First of all, I am an African, and my people are the first people to populate every land on this planet. I am the first in Europe. I am the first in America. I am the first in Asia. I am the first in the South Pacific. I am the first everywhere. Yes, I immigrated from Africa. You damn right. And I don't have a problem with that because Africa is the ancestral, spiritual, cultural, and historical homeland of my people. So yes, I am an African, but everywhere else I got there from Africa. And that's what you self-hating indigenous freedmen, ADOS, FBA, and everything else don't want to admit. You're trying to run away from being black. Your movement is based on self-hatred and the love of white folks.
Get some Africans, all right? How many was fitting on that boat? About 300 of them on the boat. Strap them on the boat. Have them go through the Atlantic, which we know is a long voyage from Africa to America with no motor. Okay, then they going down to the Caribbean and all that. So they going through the hurricane season and everything. We getting them down there, get them over here. They gonna be sickly, they stinky, they ain't had no food, they ain't had no drink. They been side by side, they funky. I'm getting them over here to a foreign land, which they know nothing about. I'm gonna have to clean them up. Teach them how to till this land, teach them about this land, just so they can till and some cotton and grow some vegetables that they can grow all in Africa, which is supposed to be the motherland, because Africa's supposed to be able to grow all this stuff too. Why would I take you from Africa and bring you all the way to another land and risk my boat sinking, you guys dying, being sickly, and bring you somewhere else just to pick some fucking cotton? It makes no sense. Why would I do that when there's people already on that land that knows how to farm and migrate that land?
If I understand your question,
I'm going to keep the
If I understand your question, Nakia,
yes.
Why didn't the white man enslave the African in Africa instead of bringing him to the New World?
Why would he? It makes no sense.
Is that the question? Is that the question?
Yes.
Because if it is the question, the answer is real simple, sister.
Why?
Europeans were looking for new territories that they could control and offload their excess population. They were interested in building empire. Listen. Africa, for a long time, was ground that the European did not want to touch because he was afraid of it. He had never investigated the continent.
Why if you're afraid, how you going to enslave the people if you're afraid of them? How you
Because
enslave
when
3 million people and you're afraid of them? That makes no sense.
First of all, when they finally came to Africa and began the slave trade, they were on the coast of Africa, not in the interior. If you're going to enslave, listen, if you're going to enslave African people and build an economic empire out of it, you can't do that from the coast. You have to go in the inside. That's one of the reasons why they made deals with African rulers who would go and get the enslaved Africans and bring them back to the coast. It wasn't until Stanley traveled to the heart of Africa into the Congo. And once he crossed the entire continent, he told the white man, we can make it here. Africa was already populated by kingdoms that they would have to destroy, and the white man wasn't able to survive the climate nor the diseases of the mother continent. It was not feasible. It was not feasible, Nakia. All you got to do is read the history on European global exploration. He did not listen. He did not listen, Nakia. He did not start going into the African interior until his military technology allowed him to fight the African at a distance. Study the history of military.
The ones on the coast.
Colonists.
There was no kingdoms on the coast. And the ones on the coast were the weaker ones, so they took the weaker
If you're on the coast, you are on the water, sweetheart. Do you know what that means? If I got to get the hell out of Dodge, I can get the hell out of Dodge. What I want to go in the interior for of a country I don't know anything about, in a climate that I can barely survive? What are you talking about? Why did they bring Africans to America? Because the Native Americans knew the land too well, so they kept on escaping, and the white man was dying from diseases. So he needed somebody who could withstand those heats and those diseases, and that's why they brought us, because we're the genetically strongest people on the planet Earth.
Wake it up.
He did go to Africa. Do you know that by the time slavery ended, he was already colonizing Africa, but he did not start there because he did not think he would be successful there in the beginning.
Oh my God. Okay, Dr. Umar.
The climate of Africa was deemed unbearable by the Europeans. You can study this, sister. You don't have to believe me.
Okay, that's
You can study this. Christopher Columbus was in Africa. He got the map to come over here from African brothers and sisters. He spent the whole week in one of the slave dungeons in Ghana, either Elmina or Cape Coast, and they teach you that when you go there. So they knew how to come to America because we taught them how to come to America. But they wanted to go to a land that they thought would be much more efficient to conquer and colonize. The white man wasn't about to go into Africa, try to conquer and colonize. He didn't do that until after.
So you mean to tell me when they came over here, because they was calling us savages, and when they came over here, we've been fighting it. We gave them hell. And
them calling you a savage means what?
We was fighting them just as much. What battles have you seen the Africans fight versus the battles that we didn't fight? You see, we fought them way
Are
more
you
than the
serious?
Are
you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah, she's wild.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You don't know.
Every kingdom in Africa just about fought the Europeans. Yes, they had a few collaborators, but most of us fought the Ashanti Wars, the Zulu Wars. The Ethiopians even beat them. The Zulus even beat them. The white man had to fight for almost 100 years before he could finally take Africa.
The Seminoles fought. We fought as well. The Haitians fought.
You're not no Seminole. Listen.
We fought just as well.
Okay, so you a Seminole. But how are you a Seminole when you can't give me the names of your 16 great? So you're sure you're Seminole,
no, I didn't
but you don't even know the names of your 16 great grandparents. How did you?
Is Blackfoot. We're Blackfoot and Osage.
Okay, you're Blackfoot and Osage.
Yes,
how many of your 256 7 times great grandparents are Blackfoot and Osage?
I can only go back to my great grandmother.
And here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. Your Blackfoot ancestors and your Osage ancestors have African ancestry as well. That's
No,
the
they
ridiculous
don't.
part.
You
Yes,
no,
they
they
do.
don't.
Yes, they
They're
do.
right here from this
Yes,
land.
they
This
do.
is our land. You can be from Africa and fight from Africa, but I'm gonna fight for America. You can go.
Listen to me. Your
But I'm
identity
gonna
is
stay right
false.
here on my land. This
Your
is my
identity is false.
No.
Every African on the planet came from Africa. Anybody who tells you you was in America and didn't come from Africa is a lie, and they cannot prove it. The issue is y'all hate yourself.
No,
Y'all
we
hate
love
being
ourselves,
black.
and we love
Y'all
our
hate
land.
being
That's the
African.
problem.
And so what
Dr.
you're
Umar,
doing
you don't love the
is
land
you
that
are
you're on.
claiming you're claiming an identity that somebody gave you on YouTube.
You don't love
because
the
for
land that you
you,
own, but you
anything
gonna
is
love a
better.
land that you don't even live on.
Anything
So you
is
love,
better.
You,
Anything is better than being an African. So
okay,
you will
this
claim
is what
anything
you're
they
telling
give
me.
you.
This is this land
You
right
can't
here.
even
It's a
name
land
your
that came from
ancestors,
your mother,
though.
your father,
You ain't gave
and
me
your
no
grandparents
names.
were going on, and you don't even love it.
Sister,
You
can
don't
you
even
give
love
me
it.
some
But you
names
love
of your
Africa.
what were the names of your Blackfoot ancestors since you're so Blackfoot? You can't give me a name, sister. That's ignorant.
My grandmother,
That's
my
ignorant.
great-grandmother, my grandmother Ella, my grandmother Sharon, my grandfather Riley, my grandmother Teresa Red. Baby, we are Blackfoot in Osage. We come from this land.
Y'all Blackfoot in Osage.
And guess what?
Y'all go back to what date? Give me a date. Give me a date. You can take them back how far? You can take them back how far?
I can take my grandmother back to the 1800s. My great 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 great. I mean my great great.
18 what? 18 what?
Like
18 what?
1825. I can go back there.
Okay. Where were they before that?
They were right here on this land. Ain't nobody been from no Africa.
How do you know that if you can only go back to 1825?
Prove that they were from Africa.
No. I need you to answer my question. You told me that you can listen. You told me you can go back to 1825. If you listen, you told me you can go back to 1825. So you can go back to Frederick Douglass being 5 years old. Okay, I got you. You can go back to Frederick Douglass being 5. But you don't know nothing about them people before 1825. And let me tell you why you don't know nothing about those people. Let me tell you why you don't know nothing about those people before 1825. Because thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you. There you go. There you go.
They were right here.
There you go. Are you aware that Native Americans have African ancestry? Do you know that?
Dr. Umar, let me tell you something, Dr. Umar.
No, I need you to answer my question. No, I need you to answer my question. You didn't answer the question, Nakia. Nakia, are you aware that Native Americans have African ancestry? Yes or no? Are you aware?
They have indigenous American.
No, I didn't say indigenous. I said African. Are you aware of that?
Some may do, but mine don't.
Oh, see, I need you to. Okay. The problem is you're not well read, Sister Nakia. Listen to me, Sister Nakia. The problem is you're not well read. You need more historical education.
I don't need no.
Yes, you do, my sister. And the problem with a lot of you, listen to me. The problem with a lot of you, Nakia, listen to me, Queen. The problem with a lot of you young folks is you get your education from uneducated YouTubians. That's the problem. You don't read books by real scholars with real documentation.
This is Dr. Umar. I don't know what you think I've been watching, but I'm telling you what my family told me.
Right, but they can only go back to 1825. That's nothing. 1825 is not. That's not history.
If I call
you can only go back to 1825, sister.
Baby,
that means you know nothing about.
That's what my grandmother told us.
Everybody over here came from somewhere else. And Sister Nakia, you said, it sounded like you were making an argument that slavery could not have happened because Africa is so close to Europe and the white man didn't need to go to America to enslave blacks. He could have enslaved us in Africa. Are you leaving out the fact that the white man thought he was going to uncharted, uninhabited territory? Isn't that the reason they called it the New World? He thought he was going to a place where he would not have to fight in order to control and conquer the land. That's one of the biggest reasons why they came over to the Americas, because they thought they were largely unpopulated and they could not handle the climate of Africa. And they knew Africa had standing kingdoms with standing armies. So they bought their time until the European military arsenal was strong enough to fight the African without having to engage in hand-to-hand combat. Are you one of those Negroes who believe slavery did not happen?
I do believe that.
Oh my!
You believe
Dr.
slavery
Umar,
did not
Yes,
happen?
I do.
Dr.
I
Umar.
believe slavery
Lord
did not
have
happen.
mercy.
And you
Lord
guys
have
are entitled
And you
to
base
your
that on what? You base that on what? Hold on. I want to hear her. I want to hear Sister Nakia's. She has a right to her opinion. Sister Nakia,
thank you.
why
Thank
do
you,
you
guys.
believe slavery did not
Got
happen?
a right to her facts.
Because if slavery didn't happen, there was never no Harriet Tubman, no Frederick Douglass, which means I can't exist either because I'm from the same family as Frederick Douglass. I'm a Bailey. So that means how am I even here? But I want you to explain how slavery didn't happen.
Okay. I don't believe in the transatlantic slave trade. I don't believe we were brought here on boats.
So Africans were not brought to America.
I don't believe that.
So when you go to Africa, so those slave dungeons were made up.
The ones that are in Africa,
they were made up.
They must be. Because I believe that when they came to this land, when they came over here to this land, and have you read Christopher Columbus journals that he wrote back to the Queen?
I absolutely do, and you must not have. And you must not have. Because if you read him, he told you he found African people over here.
They are a godly people. When he came over here, it was people already here. We were already
here. And did you read the descriptions? Did you read what he said? Did you read what he said, Nakia? Nakia, did you read what he said? Did you read what he said? What did he say about the people?
What he said.
What did he say about the people he found?
He never said we came from Africa.
He said that the people he found in the islands, because Columbus never came to America. Columbus came to islands off the coast.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. Vespucci was the first European to come to Columbus.
Right,
and who did Columbus, and what did Columbus describe the people, how did he describe the people he saw?
He as dark-skinned people, and godly people, and comely people.
You didn't give me the rest of the descriptions. And how did he describe their hair?
They was woolly and woolly and
yeah, woolly.
So, that don't mean nothing.
And if you read some of Columbus's notations, he also makes reference to the point that the individuals he encountered in the Caribbean islands look just like the ones he encountered in Africa.
Open the other dialect. You can't just be like.
Well, you've taken up a lot of space, though, man.
No. I appreciate your opinion.
Because I'm telling you, we are waking up. We are waking up over here, and we're realizing that we're not coming from Africa. And when you say,
but based on what proof, though? Based on what proof? Nakia, you waking up.
The white man is telling us this.
Nakia, you're waking up and finding out you're not from Africa based on what documentation? What is your proof? You ain't gave me no proof. You told me grandma was Blackfoot. You ain't gave me no proof that you did not come from the continent. But I'm telling you, we could take a DNA test and prove that you came from the continent.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I love you, Quayla. Lord have mercy. My God. Thank God for Pan-Africanism. It's actually sick. It's really sick. And you know why it's sick, Dr. Goddess, before you continue? It's sick because young people are being influenced. Young people are being influenced by these social network, self-taught fools. They're not scholars. I'm not talking about you, Sister Nakia. This is not about you. But the people who have informed you. These people are not scholars. They've done no original research at all. Everything they got is from the internet, or they might have read a few books, and they are on a crusade due to their own self-hatred to try to convince all African people in this country that you did not come from the mother continent. And let me tell you what makes that argument so sick. The sickest part of the we ain't from Africa argument is the fact that damn near every people of color on the planet traces their origin to the continent.
I mean, what I told y'all. Hey, if I'm loud and wrong was ever a human being or a person, that woman is the face of it. Honestly, 80 to 90% of FBA culprits are the face of I'm loud and I'm wrong. Mixing pseudo history with passion for your race doesn't necessarily push out something good out the oven, man. I mean, the nonsense. The woman damn near was about to paint Europeans as the best on earth just by her vitriol with even being compared to an African. I mean, who raised you niggas? Who raised you niggas? No, I want to know. What happened? who raised you niggas? I mean, that shit was disgusting. And if you represent that cult group, I'm not saying every individual is a reflection of us all, but there gotta be accountability. It's because of y'all bullshit. You got people that's never really studied history, not at least at the depths that you should, to get clarity, get some type of comprehension. You shouldn't be the speaker of nothing. Just shut up, put your cheerleading FBA pom-poms on, and just listen to whoever your leader is. Well, we all know it's your guy Tariq. But damn, that was a tough listen, y'all. Because while I might have some disdain for this group, I understand the bigger picture. If there's other groups of folks from other nationalities and races listening to this, that was embarrassing. Shout out to Dr. Umar for educating the young sister. And God, help this woman, man. I'm out. I mean, I ain't got nothing for that, man. I ain't got nothing for that. You know, I already had a headache today, and that shit only made it a little worse. I mean, seriously, who raised you niggas? Like, comment, share, subscribe. But please, just keep coming back. We gotta help our people, folks. We gotta help our people, man.
If it's love, I want everything. Touch my soul, touch my heart, don't judge my mental. They told me that life is simple, been real since Papa Pimple. I started out in the Renault Sonata, the presidential. Speak once and listen twice. They told me that less is simple.